So second video this week. As I mentioned in my last video, I was filming a few videos so far this week, and I figured I'd just sit down and knock them all out at once. So, bear with me. I'm wearing the exact same thing. But wanted to talk about another lens that I picked up over the weekend. This was actually before, which I was just talking about, my TTArtistan lens. But this is actually, been out for quite a bit. I want to say at least 2 years, but I've actually owned this lens previously. And that lens that I'm speaking on right now is the Viltrox 20mm f2.8. And I bought this lens probably about 1.5 years ago, initially when I owned my Sony ZV-E10 versus my ZV-E1 where I'm shooting on now. And, this lens, I liked it, but I also didn't understand the full crop factor when it came down to it when I was, using my ZV-E10, because I had come from the full frame space and then moved into the Fuji world and was just never really understood the differences. So shame on me for, not knowing that, but all things considered, this lens with a second go around, I'm pretty impressed by it. And, all things considered, could I have spent a ton of money and gotten, the Sony 20mm 1.8 G lens? Absolutely, but I didn't want to spend $900. So I went for my trusty old Viltrox because of the fact that, I've had a lot of Viltrox lenses. I've had a lot of TTArtistan lenses. And, as compared to what a lot of people say about these third-party lenses, Viltrox absolutely crushes it. And I feel like they've always been consistently good, but they're getting consistently better. Whereas the TTArtistan lenses that I had previously reviewed in my last video, or my last few videos with my Fuji mount 35. But, this lens, once again, not weatherproofed, but for $68, this thing is a beast. The autofocus is fast, it's quiet, and it produces really crisp images, crisp video quality overall. So I wanted to share some videos from over the weekend because I did take this out while I was, down at the beach for a long weekend. Ultimately wanted to really test out the ZV-E1, put it through its paces. And while I'm not going to show any photo with this because I haven't used this for photo, in all honesty, I was just using it for video. So I feel like it is fast, it is quiet, it hits all the marks for me. And I would say the only problem, and I think this is more so on my end as compared to the lens itself, is I did get a variable ND filter from K&F, and I guess it's just a little bit bigger on the ledge here because of the fact that I can't actually take off my lens hood, but that's okay. Having 8 stops with an ND filter, that's important because I do film a lot outside, especially when I'm just on the go with cameras, and more often than not, it's in a lot of bright sunlight. So I want to make sure I'm retaining those colors and just kind of not dealing with a completely blown out, over highlighted video. But very happy with this lens so far. I'm not sure, who any of you have tried this lens so far. I've seen a ton of reviews on this lens. It's actually why I picked it up again. Initially, the first time I bought it was more so along the lines of the fact that I was looking for budget options because I was just really getting into the content creation space. So I didn't really understand what I had, and I probably shouldn't have sold it other than the fact that I was selling my ZV-E10. I didn't have any other Sony lenses. But all things considered, very happy with this lens. So check out some video here and let me know what you think. If you have any, if you've used this lens before, if you want my recommendation, I give my recommendation fully and wholeheartedly. This lens is a great budget option if you don't want to go spend thousands of dollars, or more so up to $1,000 on the Sony version. And it doesn't have the dual linear motors, and it doesn't have the weather sealing, it doesn't have any of those fancy bells and whistles. But unless you're doing this professionally, consistently, and you're dealing with those types of environments, or you're dealing with high-end clients, you can make something like this work. I do. I have one Sony G lens. It's the one I'm filming on right now because of the fact that I wanted to be able to showcase this lens. But moving forward, this is going to be the lens that is on my ZV-E1 until I decide to upgrade down the line. So thanks again for tuning in. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.